Your life is so dumb.
6th round. TJ Hoshimazode. Yes. Lock it up.
Who?
What? TJ, how's the vanilla? All right. TJ, who's your mama?
You mean TJ Hushmanzada from the Bengals?
Put him on the board. Hoshimazole. Got it. Championship.
Make sure to join the Armchair Quarterbacks right here. We'll answer all your questions, pickups, trades, you name it. You want to win your league? Then listen to the Armchair Quarterbacks.
Fantasy football time.
This is Jim Rome. Join me in the jungle for your phone calls and the biggest names in sports. Stop by weekdays, noon until 3 Eastern, 9 to noon Pacific.
Enjoy sun-drenched days, epic stays, and plenty of room to roam in Greater Fort Lauderdale. Our hotels, attractions, and restaurants have taken the Visit Lauderdale's Safe and Clean pledge so you can relax and explore with confidence. When you're ready for that well-deserved staycation, our 23 miles of golden beaches await. Find wide-open spaces to hike, bike, kayak, and paddleboard. Visit your favorite attractions, then dine out in style in socially distanced dining rooms or al fresco on waterfront patios. Learn more at sunny.org.
Hi, this is Britney Spears.
What up, this Jay-Z.
This is Jennifer Lopez. Armchair.
This portion of the show is being brought to you by our mystery sponsor, a product that is so good that they're paying us to keep anyone from associating it with this program.
Hey there, pal. First draft?
How can you tell?
Look, there's a few things you're going to want to know. Kickers go fast. You're going to take one early. And don't worry about running backs. You can always trade for one later.
Cool, thanks.
And one more thing. It's good to have you here. You're my friend.
Armchair.
The Armchair Quarterbacks are covering America's pastime from spring training all the way to the Fall Classic.
5-2 Dodgers in the ninth. Got him. They've done it. Like the 1969 Mets. It's the impossible dream revisited.
And Myers bringing it. And the pitch is hit in the air. Foul off first. Benzinger backing and calling. And the 1990 World Championship belongs to the Cincinnati Reds.
The Twins are going to win the World Series. The Twins have won it. It's a base hit. It's a 1-0 10-inning victory.
Bell, left field, way back. Blue Jays win it. The Blue Jays are World Series champions as Joe Carter hits a 3-run home run in the 9th inning, and the Blue Jays have repeated as World Series champions. Touch them all, Joe. You'll never hit a bigger home run in your life.
Armchair.
We were on a break! And for the record, it took 2 people to break up this relationship.
Yeah, you and that girl from the copy place, which yesterday you took full responsibility for.
I didn't know what I was taking responsibility for, okay? I didn't finish the whole letter.
What?
I fell asleep.
You fell asleep?
We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, and flat out deceived.
There's something kind of about a kid that's never played baseball.
Make sure to listen to the Armchair Quarterbacks. Good enough for us down here in the bayou. Go Tigers and the Armchair Quarterbacks.
It's morning.
Yes, and what a lovely morning. Good morning.
Good morning. We've talked the whole night through.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
No.
Armchair.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on CBS Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
Good morning, and this is your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. Denver Nuggets guard Jamal Murray has been diagnosed with a torn ACL of the left knee and will be out indefinitely. Murray suffered what appeared to be a non-contact injury during the Nuggets' 116-107 loss to the Golden State Warriors on Monday night. He crumpled to the ground in pain, clutching his left knee and pounding the court with his hand after trying to split two Warrior defenders on a drive with 50 seconds left and the Nuggets trailing by 7. The Nuggets had won 17 of their last 20 games before dropping their last 2. Murray enjoyed a breakout postseason last year, averaging 26 points, 6 assists, and 5 rebounds in 19 playoff games. The Arizona Cardinals added much-needed depth in the backfield on Tuesday when they agreed to terms on a one-year contract with former Steelers running back James Conner. Conner, 25 years old, will be paired with Chase Edmonds to form the Cardinals' 1-2-2021 backfield punch. It's expected they'll share reps and responsibilities, making it a nightmare for fantasy football owners. The WNBA released its 2021 schedule Tuesday as the league gets set to celebrate its 25th season starting May 14th. Nobody gives a damn, so we'll move on. James Paxton, his first season back with the Seattle Mariners, has come to an end already as the left-hander who's been injured much his career will undergo season-ending surgery, manager Scott Servais said on Tuesday. Servais said Paxton will have surgery on his left elbow but did not say if it was Tommy John. The United States' second chance at qualifying for the Olympic baseball tournament has been moved to the spring training home of the Houston Astros and Washington Nationals in the exhibition ballpark of the New York Mets. The games will be played at West Palm Beach and Port St. Lucie May 31st to June 5th. Former LA Angels manager Mike Scioscia will be the manager. The U.S. plays the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, and Nicaragua in Group A. The top 2 teams advance to the Super Round, along with 2 teams from Group B, which include Canada, Colombia, Cuba, and Venezuela. We've got a full day of Major League Baseball today, starting at 1:07 p.m. Eastern. First pitch, Corey Kluber versus Ross Stripling. It's the Yankees at the Blue Jays. At 1:15, the Nationals are at the Cardinals. Joe Ross versus Adam Wainwright. And 1:40, Cubs and Brewers. Arrieta versus Corbin Burns. At 2:10, you get the beginning of a doubleheader. Nathan Eovaldi versus Kenta Maeda, followed by Eduardo Rodriguez versus Jose Barrios. Marlins are at the Braves. Nick Neidert going up against Charlie Morton. And Joe Musgrove returns home to Pittsburgh, his first start since throwing a no-hitter last Friday night. Phillies and Mets, Indians, White Sox are also in action. And that's your Armchair Quarterback Sports Flash. Stay tuned for more of the Armchair Quarterbacks radio show and YouTube Live. Please like, subscribe, and share our show today. The Armchair Quarterbacks, your first choice for sports talk live from the First Coast. Good morning. It's time to wake up, y'all. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterback Show. We're here weekdays on CBS Radio, YouTube Live, 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 Central, 5 Pacific. The Armchair Quarterback Show, your first choice for Southern sports talk. Good morning, Mr. Justin Waller.
Good morning. I don't know much, but I know one thing. Adam Duvall is ranking the Braves like he took his non-tender release personal or something. Well, message heard, big fella. Please accept our apology.
I'm Sean O'Toole. I don't know much, but Huascar, is running through the NL East like enchiladas running through me at Cinco de Mayo. He belongs in the rotation.
Hi, I'm Mac McGinn. I don't know much, but I know one thing. Joe West was in the replay booth Sunday night, the one that was egregiously called wrong. But don't say anything about it. Don't say anything about it because Joe West will sue your ass. Just ask Paul LaDuca about it. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks.
Here, I made some bologna sandwiches.
Bologna? Nobody eats bologna anymore.
What are you talking about? Have a sandwich.
No, thank you.
Oh, stop it. You don't want one, Kramer?
No thanks.
I think you're all a little touched in the head. You're so worried about your health? You're young men.
I really don't eat it.
What am I going to do with all these sandwiches? Will you take them home? Give them to someone in your building?
I don't know if I feel comfortable handing out bologna sandwiches in the building.
Armchair.
Community Access Channel.
He's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer and he's full of snacks. The all-American man.
Hey, howdy, hi, top of the morning to you. Welcome to the Armchair Quarterback Radio Show. I'm Mac McGee sitting alongside Justin Waller, and we got Sean O'Toole with us today. Sean, how the hell are you, sir?
I am doing fantastic. You had the Boston Red Sox in first place and Wilson Ramos as the Major League Baseball leader in home runs through the first 2 weeks of the season. Congratulations. Cash in that Vegas ticket. Didn't know you had that. Stop it.
Justin, how the hell are you, sir?
Oh, I'm doing great, Mac. Hoping today we can not get swept by the Marlins. That's my actually it's a 4-game series, so yeah. I got another one in the back pocket.
But let's not tempt it to where we're worried about being swept tomorrow. Okay?
Yes, please.
I'm with you. I almost wore my slump buster hat again today, but I decided I was going to go one more day because I try not to use that thing too much. I figured it's only got so much luck in it. So last time I wore it, we got off the schneid and we went on a 4-game winning streak. But if we do not win today, it will definitely be coming out of the woodworks. I'm not trying to use it against the Marlins, but it's, man, I'll tell you what, Max Fried looks lost, but we'll get into that in a second. Let's talk about the NHL playoffs. We don't get a chance to talk about this much, and we're coming up on towards the end of the season and what the playoff standings look like. Justin, let's start with you and what's going on with the Nashville Predators.
Well, I mean, right now, actually, 4 games are I'm pulling it right now. Sorry, thought I had it loaded up. They are 4 points ahead of Chicago and actually going toe to toe. Just came off a big win last night. I believe it was 7-2, the final against Tampa Bay, and are headed. Problem is they've still got 4 games on the schedule against Carolina Hurricanes, and the Carolina Hurricanes have been their kryptonite for years, and actually a team that they have not beaten yet this season. So with 2 coming up Thursday and Saturday, and then the finale of the season is 2 against the Hurricanes, that's going to be a monster 8 points on the line right there. So right now Nashville's in. They've got a chance, and they're playing really good hockey, standing on top of great play from Roman Josi and UC Saros standing on top of his head.
The Blackhawks 4 points behind the Predators, and we've got, what do we have, 58? So we've
12
got,
games left for the Preds. Looks like Chicago would have 13.
I keep getting the two confused between the NHL and the NBA on how many everyone decided to play. I thought 12 games left.
56 is the total.
Okay, so they're sick. They're sitting at I'm combining wins and never mind. Sorry. All right. I always forget to look over to the left where games played in the NHL. Everything else you can just add up. But
the big thing is they're erasing their goal differential, and that's huge. That's something that you want to see on a team that's on the bubble of the playoffs going in, that is at least moving in the right direction. So they are scoring frequently and outscoring opponents, and they are chipping away at that. You need a high plus goal differential, or
do we have maybe 7 or 8 games left versus the Red Wings? Maybe that's our ticket in.
It's going to take more than that.
It's going to take maybe just need to dress up the Red Wings in Predators jerseys, because I think the Red Wings are like 4-2 against Carolina this year for some inexplicable unknown reason.
Yeah, Carolina can't. I mean, whatever reason, Nashville cannot beat Carolina. No, Detroit is not left on the schedule. They've got Carolina, a 3-game series with Chicago heads up right after next week, and then Florida, Dallas after that. So everybody in contention and the top of the division right now, per se, for Nashville down the stretch.
Sean, looking around the rest of the league, what part of the playoff race has your eye? Because what really has my eye is the East, because you've got the Flyers, Rangers, and Bruins all separated by 6 points, and they play each other quite heavily over the next several games. I do know that the Rangers are getting a chance to get quite a few games against the Sabres and the Devils coming up, which obviously is an advantage for the Rangers. But Sean, what say you on that race?
Yeah, it feels like in the East, it's kind of a fait accompli that Washington is going to be the winner of that division. I went back and looked at our preseason predictions. I actually took Philadelphia, but they've just gotten a really bad year out of Carter Hart, who's their young goaltender. He has not played well. I hope they sneak in. I don't think it's likely. I would put more money on the Rangers sneaking in and maybe pillaging Boston's spot than Philadelphia jumping both the Rangers and Boston. Boston went out and acquired Taylor Hall this week. I'd be curious to hear what Justin thinks about that. I mean, Taylor Hall, every time you hear his name, the first thing that's mentioned is that he won an MVP. That's one of the most fraudulent MVP wins in NHL history. He was on an 8-seeded team. It was a down year for a lot of the blue bloods in the MVP race, like Ovechkin and Crosby and McDavid. So he kind of won it by default, and I don't know what they're getting out of him. I'm really keeping an eye on the Rangers because their goal differential is plus 24. They're starting to get some guys healthy, and like you said, they've got a lot of games against the Devils and the poor Sabres, who are even sadder than the Red Wings, if that's even possible. So yeah, the Rangers would be the team I keep an eye on. I think they're going to sneak in.
I got their schedule right in front of me. So the next 3 games, including the game that they won last night. So the next 4 games, if you want to include last night, the Rangers beat the Devils 3-0 last night. They have 3 more games this week with the Devils, and then they get 2 more games against Buffalo. But here's the interesting thing. This gets real fun, Justin and Sean. The season ends with 2 games at Boston.
Woo!
Thursday, May 6th and Saturday, May 8th.
That's interesting.
Wow. I wonder why they. Oh, no. I guess it makes sense. Your thought of it would have been home and home, but they set this up for less travel, so I get it. But, man, that is going to be interesting because if the Rangers are in swiping distance, those 2 games are going to be enormous in late May. Boston, conversely, let me pull up their schedule real quick because if they have they do have 3 games against, so they're kind of even. They've got 3 games against Buffalo and 3 games against New Jersey, the bottom of it. But Boston, after they play New York, they have 2 more games. I don't know if those are makeup games because New York season will have ended, but Boston will still have 2 games to play May 10th and 11th against New York and or against the Islanders and Washington. So there you have that. The rest of the playoffs, anything jumping out at y'all, Justin, as far as other playoff races in the NHL?
Sorry, I apologize. Out west, you've got a tight race between St. Louis and Arizona. So that would be, they're separated by a point. St. Louis actually has 2 games at hand. So right now with that 1-point lead, that could be as large as 5. But if Arizona can stay on their heels, it'd be interesting. And San Jose 3 back. So it's not completely out of the picture there. It's worth some you scrolling through and see some late night West Coast hockey. Should be entertaining because they're all fighting for something.
And so we essentially about the second week of May, the season's over with. So we have about a month left in the season. So Sean, final thoughts on this before we transition into baseball?
Yeah, nothing much to say up north. It feels like it's the Maple Leafs coronation. Obviously, if it was a regular season, there would be some kind of seeding, and we'd get to make jokes about whether or not they have to play Boston in the first round, like we get to make every year. It's the gift that keeps on giving for me. Is will Toronto get beaten by Boston? I still haven't seen anything from the NHL on how they're going to do the playoffs after they're out of their individual pockets. So, I'll be curious to see how that breaks out. But Toronto's the class of that division, and it's not particularly close amongst the rest of them.
I'm firmly locked into the the race in Florida, Panthers and Lightning, then of course keeping up with the Preds. And now that we're getting down to the nitty gritty, this is when I really start paying attention to hockey. And the same thing with the NBA. Once we get the NBA is a little farther behind hockey, I believe. I don't know. It's so damn confusing I'm so used to their schedules lining up with each other. And now I have to double check and look. I know that the NBA is planning on playing 70 games, and I don't think that they're creeping up on that anytime soon. But we'll go ahead and transition out of that and go into some baseball.
You're in Braves country.
All right, we're in Braves country, and, man, we got to wake up the Tomahawks, man, because I'll tell you what. We get a 4-game sweep at home against the Marlins. It's going to get slap ugly. I don't think my liver will be able to take this summer, Justin, if this is the way Max Fried's going to pitch. I mean, he looked terrible.
He ain't pitching anything right now. He's going on the IL from a base running injury. So, I mean, can we I don't know.
Is he
universal DH?
But is he? What I'm saying is he?
I think an MRI today, and we'll see. It pulled up tight. I guarantee you they will play it safe, especially when you're nursing Soroka back.
I think
Noah's doing okay. I think they baby him, and I think you're going to see a stint. He'll skip a start.
I think they want him to go on the IL so they can get down there and coach him a little bit, because he's really not that far off. If you watched the game last night, he was missing the strike zone just barely on his inside fastball, which was killing him, because as he was doing this, it was getting the count in the favor of the Marlins hitters. And I think they're just going to, whether he's hurt or not, he's going on the IL to go down there and get right, because when he's on, he's one of the best pitchers in the National League. I got some clown tweet sent to me by Steven last night from some guy in fantasy baseball land, where he was basically saying, I didn't pick him because I didn't believe in his home splits and all this stuff. I'm like, bruh, you obviously don't watch baseball. You don't watch the game. You don't understand the game. Max Fried has elite stuff. He's just
He added me with that retweet about Matt Boyd too, from the same guy. I went and looked at his page. I'm like, bro, you got 300 followers. Stop it. Get back in your mom's basement. Get out of here.
That's 300 too many, because anyone who's following that guy is following him down there. These are the dorks that don't watch the game, that play fantasy sports and just stare at spreadsheets, that don't understand. And then later on in the year, when Max Fried gets it straight, or whoever gets it straight, to, oh man, he was having such a bad game, but a bad year, but he came out of nowhere. No, he's not. The guy was elite last year. You could have made an argument for him for the Cy Young Award. I'm not worried about Max Fried long term. I mean, unless he has a terrible injury, but I'm not worried about him long term as far as getting right. He's young. He's going to go through these slumps. What's more concerning is, what the hell are we going to do about that bullpen, Justin?
I don't have a clue, dude. Maybe quit being an idiot. This was a bad offseason for AA. I mean, you watch Duvall just thump us. You watch Melanson go out to San Diego. You see Green still not picked up. And you just watch the implosion that we come in. And, I mean, what are we spotting? We're averaging 3 or 4 out of the bullpen. I mean, has it crept up that high? I feel like it has. This series has kind of blown that out of proportion, and I'm being a little bit exaggerated, but I don't feel that I'm truthfully far off if I was actually not lazy and would type it in and pull it up.
Well, I'll tell you right now, what's not an exaggeration. I saw Josh Tomlin come into the game, and I headed to bed. It's a wrap.
We paid Luke Jackson $1.99 million, but we couldn't re-sign Duvall because we were worried about the DH rule and what would or happen. We wanted to keep our options flexible in left field. So we re-sign Ozuna, who can't throw anybody out.
So, yeah, but they re-signed Ozuna for a 4-year deal for his bat. I understood that. Yep. He's going to sit there and play DH 2022.
My point is, not signing Duvall made you unflexible, but yet you non-tendered him on the same day. I just remember I saw the article.
I think the concern is with no DH. I think we had the DH, I think he gets re-signed because you just put Ozuna over in left. I mean, sorry, his DH, and Duvall gets in left. The problem is if you sign him, what do you do with him on a daily basis unless you're going to do what you and I hate? We've talked about how much we hate having Acuna in center field. And so you would have to put what Duvall in right, and he's not a right fielder. So that's the problem. Someone with more capital could have signed him as a bench player, but I think he wanted to play every day. So I don't even know if that would have been an option unless you signed him and just said to hell with Ozuna. But I don't know if I like that long-term either, because Duvall has had his massive slumps from time to time too. He's hitting us well. He hit to that stadium well, which to your point is why you wanted to keep him. Maybe he's someone that the Braves sign next year once the dust settles on the DH. But the concern now is that Pache came out of the game, and I know he's not been hitting, but the kid's a really good defensive player. And what they might do at center field, I hope that they are not planning on putting Acuna back out in center and try to spell right field with someone else. I would rather maybe this is the Michael Harris experiment. Maybe he comes up, or B, maybe they give Drew Waters a chance. I don't think we really have anyone on our bench that you could say you want. If Pache is out for an extended time, I don't think there's anyone on the bench that you want to. Because if putting NCRT in there is the answer, I'll eat my hat. That is not the answer. That might be what old Smitty Ball does, but that is not the answer because he can't hit his weight right now. And that dude don't weigh 200, so. It's a different story if you say I can't hit my weight. Hell, I could still be headed to the Hall of Fame. He can't hit his weight. We got issues. End rant. Who wants to jump in here? Because I'm about to black out.
Where did we go wrong with the no universal DH? I mean, us diehard National League guys thought this was a stupid idea. Now, 2 weeks.
Well, now that we got a taste of it and we know what our team could look like with it, we're a little pissed, right? We're a little pissed.
Getting our pitchers hurt.
I know it's coming is the problem. If I thought that was just a one-time thing and we weren't going to get the DH, I wouldn't care. And I would say, okay, fair enough. It's over. But because I know it's going to happen next year, I'm a little ticked off that we didn't get it this year because it kind of screwed up all the plans. And to your point about we've talked about this Luke Jackson thing. They wasted $2 million in Melanson signed for what was it? 3.9, 3.8, something like that. Good.
That's
God.
my point. That transaction was made on the same day. It was back in December. On the same day, they re-signed Luke Jackson and non-tender Adam Duvall. I mean, if that's not some salt in the wound right there.
Well, it's not even that. It's like, okay, I would rather just dump him. And whatever they paid freaking Josh Tomlin, which I think was $1 million or so, and I would rather have Melanson than those two numbskulls, and have someone come up from the minors, someone like a Tuki Toussaint, because I'm not convinced Tuki Toussaint is ever going to be a frontline starter in the National League. I think he's more likely to be a bullpen guy. So let's go ahead and put him in our bullpen. And so, oh God. I mean, if we don't get to the very back of the bullpen, and even then, Will Smith has looked very, very hittable, and he looked hittable last year too. But we're in big trouble going into the 6th and 7th inning if your starter's not giving you big time. I believe Morton's on the hill today, right? So you expect 6 to 7 innings out of him. But, dude, I really think it's Bryce Wilson time. I think they got to bring him up. One way or the other.
I agree. I mean, let's see if he can still rake up some of that magic he had. Noah's looking good. You got to hope Soroka. I really question what's going on with our training and everything behind the scene. I'm tired of seeing these young guys come in off great years and then have these monumental fall-offs. You saw it with Folty. You saw it with Newcomb. You're seeing it with Freed. I hope we don't see it with Soroka. We didn't last year, so but pre-injury, so I feel pretty confident there. But I'm really starting to question what in the world are we doing in our off time when we're not on that mound every fifth day. What in the world are we doing?
Well, we need to start putting some money into Bitcoin so that next year we can afford some of these players. That's what we need. That's what we need to be doing. Let's go ahead and take a break so Sean can get set up and everything. And when we come back, we've got our mock draft, and we are at pick number, I don't remember the pick, but it's the Detroit Lions in the second round. Pick number 41 is on the way. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks. Keep it locked in here to CBS Sports Radio.
Triple decker burn!
We are live from the Orange Bowl in Miami, Florida. There's a sellout crowd, of course, a wild air of anticipation. The undefeated Chicago Bears are in town to meet the Miami Dolphins. There have been 3 undefeated teams in the NFL over the years. The Bears have a pair of them. The last to be undefeated were the 72 Dolphins. 14-0 regular season. They went to 17-0 with the victory over Washington in Super Bowl 7. The offensive set with Nat Moore in it, that was so successful in the first half, is on the field now for a 3rd down and 6. Duper, Moore, and Clayton. Out of the way. Into the arms of Clayton. Oh, and are things going right for the Dolphins tonight? 42-yard touchdown. Batted into the air at the line of scrimmage. This is vintage Monday Night Football. Dwight Stevenson remains the center, even though in pain with the right shoulder injury for the Dolphins. Marino gets the pressure, but he gets it to Nat Moore. And there are quarterbacks who bring magic to a football team. McMahon is a type of quarterback, a Bobby Lane, if you will. Pardon me, Joe, a Joe Namath, if you will. Final seconds ticking off. Bears will not go undefeated, but they have put life and a spark into football in general and Chicago in particular. What a victory for the Dolphins. And Dan Marino reigns supreme once again. Peyton on the night will wind up with 121 yards.
Armchair Quarterbacks Radio covers the whole SEC the whole season long.
Down. Here's Tua stepping back, loads up, looks long, throws, end zone, touchdown, Alabama! Devontae Smith, touchdown, Alabama! And the Crimson Tide has once again ascended to the top of the college football mountain.
Again, it's going to be Crapel, Wing, and the kicker, Drew Alamo. LSU remains undefeated.
Passes away, penalty flag down. Lamar Thomas has got it. Lamar Thomas is on his way down the sideline. George Teague is after him and runs him down. Takes the ball away from him. Teague's got the ball.
A congratulations to the LSU Tigers, the 2008 BCS National Champion.
Armchair.
Please, not the Ashbys. Family emergency? Apparently it's so urgent they didn't even have time to think of a plausible excuse.
So where does that leave us?
Well, let's see. We have a third-rate caterer with a record. 2 lushes. A couple who think we're both nutcases. An Argentine wild child and Ross. Dinner is served.
In a recent New York Times op-ed, 60 black medical professionals urged black Americans to get vaccinated against the coronavirus. So now it comes in grape.
Amber, you're the one who wrote it for me. Yeah, but I didn't expect you to say it.
You're America's sweetheart. Why wouldn't I trust you?
They wouldn't even read it out loud in rehearsal.
Welcome back into the Armchair Quarterbacks. Some of the funny things that I find when I'm trying to set up the show.
I was not ready for that.
We got another good one that starts off the next hour. Some of these ones I find, I go, should I? Yeah, what the hell, why not? It's all in the world of here's Justin. In the world of comedy. If you can't still do funny, what the hell's wrong with America? By the way, it looks like the Dow futures are up, and if you haven't been paying attention, the crypto coins going through the roof today. They're going to get their IPOs for the first time today, so I think people are trying to jump on it. And I don't know how you IPO a crypto coin, but anyways, my Dodge that I've been talking about for a year, I think is going through the roof, baby. It's like worth like 11 cents now.
You should look at it. It's at 14 right now.
Is it 14 cents now? It's awesome.
Looking at it between the break.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's going nuts. And Tesla is back up where I expect it. I still think it's going to grow a little more here in the next couple of weeks. It's up $150 over the last couple of weeks, and I've been pounding the table about that on Fridays. We talked stocks, Matt and I, and I've been saying this for the longest time. I mean, buy your Tesla now and you can still buy it because the experts say it is a stock that is worth $3,000 by the end of next year. And you can get it right now for like $700. So do the math. And you don't have to buy a full stock. Like I've told y'all, you don't have to buy full stocks. You can buy, X amount of dollars with it. And you're talking about essentially right now getting close to 4 to 5 times what your money you put in. And just let it ride. Don't freak out. Don't panic. Don't even look. I had to get in it's a difficult habit to do, but I had to get in the habit of not watching it every day and going and checking it every, twice a weekish, something like that. All right, let's go ahead and get into what's happening before we get into this mock draft. All right, if y'all didn't know what I was talking about on the I don't know much, but I know one thing, this is what I was talking about. Major League Baseball umpire Joe West was awarded $500,000 in a defamation of character lawsuit against former MLB catcher Paul Lo Duca. This is so asinine that the Supreme Court held this up. The court credits the plaintiff's testimony that his integrity and character are primary measures that are applied to the assessment of an umpire's or player's quality, and thus the consideration that he will be given for election to the Hall of Fame. The plaintiff expressed a legitimate concern that if Hall of Fame voters credited Lo Duca's accusation or false assertion regarding his integrity and character, he might not be elected for the induction of Hall of Fame for the same reasons that Shoeless Joe Jackson, Pete Rose, Barry Bonds, et cetera, et cetera. This was the essential quote that awarded him $500,000. And this is what I'm saying. This is asinine. Major League Baseball umpire Joe West and Lo Duca had some running over the years, and the suit is coming from a podcast where Lo Duca accused reliever Billy Wagner for bribing Joe West to get a bigger strike zone. He accused that Wagner let West use his 1957 vintage Chevrolet to make the strike zone change when he was up at bat. And so him going on a rant on a podcast cost him $500,000. So Justin, we better lawyer up because I can think of some of the things we've said over the years. Can't squeeze blood from a turnip though.
Legal fees would be more than what they could actually get out of us. So I think I could defend us.
Yeah. I literally see us walking into the Supreme Court and walking in with no lawyer, but we've got.
I'll binge watch some Law and Order with you, man. It'll be all right.
We're on headset. See what Sam Donaldson did wrong there was. Well,
sounds like I'll take over the show because I ain't helping you boys out of that one.
It'll definitely be must-see TV. If you want to see some chaos, turn into that. Last night in the NBA, the Celtics beat the Trailblazers. I tried to stay up for some of this game because it was pretty entertaining. 116-115 were the victors there. In Boston on the road, Jason Tatum finished with 32 points. Lakers over the Hornets. Suns beat the Heat. The Nets crushed the Timberwolves as Minnesota was back on the court after not playing Tuesday night. And the Clippers over the Pacers, 126-115. Hawks over the Raptors, and the Jazz beat the Thunder as the Jazz look more and more like a team that could be headed to the finals. Tonight on ESPN, you've got the Grizzlies hosting the Mavericks at 8:30 9:30 and 7 o'clock. 76ers and Nets play. So my scoreboard's on Central Time. I was like, why is it on Central Time? I forgot I had to put my VPN to watch the Braves last night on here. So I was like, what? I'm over in Dallas, Texas right now, according to this.
Really jacks up my news watching in the mornings occasionally.
Yeah, I'm like, whatever, man. I had to come into the office. I can't put it on my TV because my TV knows where I'm at, so I had to do it other ways. Tonight, by the way, Wednesday night in the NHL, we've got the Ducks and Sharks on ESPN Plus. So that's the only. Oh, I'm sorry. NBC Sports Network has a doubleheader: Avalanche Blues and Golden Knights and Kings. So there you have on what's happening in the world of sports. I believe I covered it all. We will go ahead and get. Interesting. Utah hoops transfer Timmy Allen, who I guess was all Pac-12, 6'6" forward. He is headed to the University of Texas. Texas gets their first big transfer. I don't know if it was accurate because it was Dick Vitale saying it. So sometimes, like, you don't know, you listen to Dick Vitale, it's like listening to Joe Biden. You're not sure if the stats he's throwing is accurate or if he's just trying to get in the neighborhood. But he said,
here we go.
He said 220 college basketball players are in the transfer portal right now. That seems like a ridiculous amount, but I guess what this is this becomes a second quote unquote recruiting time. And I want to say the college basketball recruiting season ends sometime in May. So you're trying to get guys to transfer to you while you're trying to also finish the high school recruiting process. So anyways, take that with what you will, but 220, you could see an entire different landscape next year in college basketball. I think they've got to get that under wraps. They got to figure out something with that. I'm not saying you don't allow kids to be able to transfer, but if you make a commitment and you're 18 years old and you've signed a contract, essentially, there should have to be something where you're not just allowed to get out of it willy-nilly. The other
I don't remember when it changed. You used to have to sit out a whole year, and now it seems like you can get in the transfer portal and get out pretty easy.
It was either 2019 or 2018 that they changed it. And some of them are conference related, like the AAC just announced that you no longer have to sit out a year for interconference transfers. Which all the others have pretty much allowed that, but you do have to still be allowed to transfer in conference. In other words, if a star player at the University of Alabama wants to transfer, he can transfer wherever he wants to go. But if he wants to transfer in the SEC, he's got to get his permission. And so I do like that. But I just think there should be something there. I mean, when you go to play for somebody, there should be some kind of, because you're messing with a lot of moving parts there. We don't have time to get into it today, but I just think there needs to be a little more regulation involved in it. Shouldn't be able to just drop. Because, I mean, what's next? You can start transferring in the middle of the week. Duke's on a losing streak. I'm going to transfer to NC State. It's like, what? Wait, what? Or, your coach said something mean to you. Unless he Bobby Knighted your ass, I don't want to hear about it. All right, Sean. The Detroit Lions are on the clock. And by the way, did y'all see Blake Snell got rattled last night? Second shortest outing of his career.
Oh, no. Breaks my heart.
2/3 of an inning.
Breaks my heart. You know what I'm saying?
And then if I get the Rona.
Gotta leave that man alone. He's out there risking it all for us.
Okay.
All right, so here we go. We're going into the Detroit Lions, and where the hell are they going to draft, or what are they going to draft, Sean?
Well, this is the spot where I definitely think they're going to try and add some depth to their wide receiver core. I don't think they have any intention of going into the season with Quintez Cephas and Tyrell Williams as the only things for Jared Goff to throw to. So I've got two names on my mind. The one that I think they're most likely to draft, although I wish it would be the other, is probably going to be Rondale Moore, wide receiver out of the University of Purdue. A little undersized, 5'9", 180, seems to project at the next level as more of a slot receiver, and maybe not a true 1 or 2. So I still think they have some work to do to find what they want on the outside. But a legendary pass catcher at Purdue, an excellent route runner, gets in and out of his breaks really quick, has an awesome skill tree, great hands, isn't really well known if you don't watch a lot of Big Ten football because, come on, it's Purdue. But just a really skilled receiver who projects to be an elite slot receiver at the next level if he's used properly. So I'm going to take Rondale Moore.
Wasn't he a finalist for the Biletnikoff Award? Okay.
Yep, sure was.
Yeah, it's
I couldn't tell you the name of the guy that was throwing to him. So, Purdue, the last good quarterback they had was Curtis Payne.
Breeze or Greasy, so, I don't really care.
Exactly.
Okay, so you're going there. Do I have the Giants pick? Is that how we did this? Okay. Okay, so the Giants. I want to make sure I'm not double dipping on what we had them take in the first part of the draft. Okay, that's what I thought. So we had the Giants take a wide receiver first, Waddle out of Alabama. So since they got that out of control, or not out of control, under control, that's out of control. That's totally out of control. Drafting a dude who's injured. So since we're there, we get into the Giants defense. I think needs more stability and athleticism. So I'm going to go Jabril Cox, linebacker out of LSU. I think that he is probably the guy that they would pull the trigger on. They could go a little more lineman, but I try not for that to be my go-to pick every single pick. I'm so more likely to want to draft a defensive or offensive lineman than anything else. But the Giants need some linebacker depth, and Jabril Cox is very athletic. Of course, playing at LSU, he's got that speed. So I'm going the Giants going there. Justin, I think that takes you to San Francisco.
And with San Francisco coming off a first-round pick of Mac Jones, I think they're going to go and get someone he is very familiar with. Their team needs their interior offensive line. At this point, I think you shore that up and get him help. You also get a interior guard that excels in the run game. And I will take Deontay Brown, guard out of Alabama. He's a 3-year starter. Folks just don't walk into Alabama and start for 3 years. That roster purges and turns over with elite athlete after elite athlete. So I think picking up Brown will be great for that interior line in the second round. 6'3", 344 pounds. He's a road grader, and I think he'll fit into that system and in that offense.
People normally don't start at Alabama for 3 years because they can't stay eligible academically for 3 years. That's
So he's smart. There you go. Like it.
Say his name again, because I don't have him in front of me.
Deontay Brown.
Deontay Brown. Okay. It's weird. Like, your rankings are so much different than my rankings. I know we're on two different websites. I need to get to that website so I can see what you're looking at. But it's so crazy that they can be this far apart between. I'm assuming that you're still using NFL, correct?
I am.
Yeah, it's crazy that that they're everything that we have talked about, Sean, me and Justin, the rankings between the players are just it's night and day between CBS Sports and NFL.com.
Yeah, I'm going off of Ryan Wilson's rankings on CBS, so mine will probably be a lot closer to yours. I think Daniel Jeremiah does the NFL.com ones, if I'm not mistaken, which is he's very intelligent and worked in the league, so I can't throw stones at him.
No, I'm not trashing either one of them. I just find it very interesting. You would think like they would be in the same conversation with them, right? And
I think there's a lot of variation once you get outside the top 15, really, from one place to another, as far as what any projection person thinks a team's specific needs are. People have different opinions.
He's a linebacker?
No, he's a guard.
Oh,
guard. Interior offensive guard.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Okay. That's why I couldn't find him. Okay. I thought you said linebacker. I was like, man, all I've got is Moses in front of me. Okay. All right. There you go.
No, I'm going for help for Mac Jones. Familiarity there. He's pretty versatile. He can play up and down. He has moved on the line, but 3-year starter out of Alabama and a power running. I'm taking that, especially when I just drafted their quarterback in the first round.
Yeah, I've been so busy. Most years I've read up on all these guys, but this year I'm working two different jobs outside of doing this, and so I just focus on my picks. And if I've heard of the guy or I've already read something about it, it's one thing. But with some of these deeper picks, I'm like, I don't know who the hell this is. Let me look into him. Sean, I think that takes us back to you at Dallas.
Yep, that does. With the 44th overall pick, the Dallas Cowboys. I think you're going to see Dallas lean pretty heavily on defense in the draft and try and get young defenders. I think the best cornerback left at this spot, and a place where they need some depth and need some young talent, I'm going to take Tyson Campbell out of the University of Georgia. I haven't seen him come off the board yet. CBS has his projection around somewhere between 35 and 39. So if the Cowboys get him at the 44 spot, they're getting him below projection. Physical guy, obviously played against the best of the best, playing cornerback in the Southeastern Conference. So he's not going to be phased going into that division and playing against Kenny Galladay. So Tyson Campbell, cornerback, University of Georgia.
All right. So I'm going to try to right a wrong here because I don't know what the hell Doug was doing to the Jaguars. But anyways, with the first pick, we took Trevor Lawrence, which makes a lot of sense. With the second pick the Jags had, we took Kadarius Toney out of the University of Florida, wide receiver. I'm not 100% sure that they'll go with him, but I do think that's the position that they need. And then Doug went and grabbed the safety out of Virginia Tech with the first pick in the second round. And I'm going to look like a dumbass when this ends up happening. But I just don't think that that's essentially where Urban Meyer is going to go in his draft when he gets a chance to make his runs, so to speak. And since Tyson Campbell's off the board, which a lot of people have Jacksonville drafting him, correct me if I'm wrong, Christian Barmore is not taken, correct?
I do not see it on the list. No.
Okay.
Yeah, he's not on my list.
So I'm going to go with who everyone thinks they're going to draft in the first pick of the second round. Not everyone, but I look at 4 different sites and I just kind of do the math. Christian Barmore, defensive tackle out of Alabama. I think that's where they would have went essentially. and then try to go defensive back. But since we already went essentially defensive back with the first pick, I'll go defensive line with this pick. The Jacksonville Jaguars try to right the wrong there. Grabbing safeties out of Virginia Tech, I don't know if that's ever worked out for anybody. But anyways, I'm joking, Doug, if you're listening. Justin, you've got the last pick of this hour with the New England Patriots. I'm interested to see where you go, because we already got them a quarterback in Trey Lance, which is going to make the entire NFL groan. They go, oh man, what were we
about to make Trey Lance a Super Bowl champion? I'm also about to make myself an Alabama fan, I guess, because this is a third offensive lineman y'all have let me select from the University of Alabama. Do y'all not realize they churn talent out of there? But anyway.
Well, we know where your heart really lies, Justin.
It is, baby, that crimson, huh? I'm going Landon Dickerson, center. I'm replacing Joe Tooney. I'm going in and I'm getting an NFL center that can also play guard, vocal leader. Now, he did have he's coming off an ACL injury, so I'm trusting that the scouting department's going to vet my pick and make sure that he's fully healthy. But aside from that, I think there's a lot of value in that pick if he falls to the second round.
Honestly, if he falls that far, I'll be a little shocked.
I don't think he makes it there, and if he does, there is no way the Patriots don't reclaim their center.
If he makes it that far, it's only based off of the physicals. I mean, if they just think he's too far away to play. I don't see how he makes it that far, but if it would happen to anybody, it would happen to the Patriots for crying out loud.
Yes, it would. Well, I mean, when I made the pick, I think it was the 15th pick overall with Trey Lance. I was like, and then here comes the collective groan from the National Football League. Oh man, we let him get a quarterback. What have we done?
I bet Patriots fans like our draft for him. They would take it. If it fell to that, I think they would absolutely take it right now.
Well, nobody is scared of the Patriots with Cam Newton. No. But let Bill Belichick get an actual quarterback, a living, breathing quarterback who can actually throw a spiral that is somewhere close to the target and not skipping it like a rock across the lake. And the Patriots could be dangerous because they get so many players back that opted out last year. So the Patriots are going to have a hell of a defense next year. You can go ahead and bet that. And I'm assuming they'll assemble some sort of a receiving core. When we get back to the Patriots and their picks down the road, you got to figure they're going to make some grabs at wide receiver, because that wide receiving core, as bad as Cam Newton was, that wide receiving core is not anything to wish for either.
Yeah, Cam was bad last year, but it's, how much of that was Cam and how much of it was he's thrown to nobody. I mean, literally nobody. Their top pass catcher was Demarius Byrd, I think. I don't, come on. It can't all be him.
No, we can't all be Demarius Byrd. He should re-enter the draft. Speaking of receivers and New England, before you got to run off here, Justin, just got to get your take on this. Edelman, a Hall of Famer to you?
That's going to be my walk-off. So I'll just drop it out there a little bit early. Just remember, half of what you think he did was Wes Welker. I mean, I think it bleeds over. I don't know which slot guy there caught what in New England. I can't differentiate, and I seem to lump in a lot of Welker's accomplishments and Edelman's just because similarity.
Well,
do you? I mean, he had a great career. I'm not knocking his career. He's got the rings. You know how I like them.
I mean, I think Welker's overall numbers are better, but Edelman got the championships. Welker played in an era of Patriots football that, although was very good, they never won a title. But to your point, Edelman's only got 3 rings.
Yeah. I mean,
but if you look at his playoffs, he's second in receptions in yards in the history of the National Football League Plus. So I feel like that's I feel like there's got to be something to that. But as much as I think he was really, really good, I don't think he's going to get the votes to get in. I mean, would I vote him in? Yeah, probably, because the NFL Hall of Fame's never been elite like the MLB Hall of Fame. So when I think of the NFL Hall of Fame, I think of players that are really, really good. There's a lot of really good players that are in the Hall of Fame. They're not all-timers. They're really good. So I could vote him in, but it would be more based on the playoffs than anything else.
I can see that. I just say it's gray area and cloudy for me. I guess I didn't follow enough to be able to separate which one was which. I really would have to deep dive and
it's racist.
Break it down. It's the same.
Welker and Edelman are not the same person. Yes, they are.
Same position.
Did they possibly wear the same jersey number?
I have no idea. I'm going to have to look it up.
Could you vote them both into a Hall of Fame under one bust? Could you say, look, if you combine the two of their
Tom Brady slot guy?
Yeah. If you combine their receptions and yards, is pretty damn impressive. It's kind of like the old Costanza.
That is Hall of Fame worthy.
Yeah, it's kind of like the whole Costanza thing in Seinfeld when he talks about, if you look at everything that I've ever accomplished and say that I accomplished it in one day, it's kind of impressive.
Absolutely. I probably fall in that same category.
All right. You got anything else to add?
That's it. Gentlemen, have a great day, and talk to you guys tomorrow.
All right, brother. We'll be back here in a flash on the Armchair Quarterbacks.
I said, do you want to fight me? Do you want to catch his hands?
Armchair.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on CBS Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
Good morning, and this is your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. Denver Nuggets guard Jamal Murray has been diagnosed with a torn ACL of the left knee and will be out indefinitely. Murray suffered what appeared to be a non-contact injury during the Nuggets' 116-107 loss to the Golden State Warriors on Monday night. He crumpled to the ground in pain, clutching his left knee and pounding the court with his hand after trying to split two Warrior defenders on a drive with 50 seconds left and the Nuggets trailing by 7. The Nuggets had won 17 of their last 20 games before dropping their last 2. Murray enjoyed a breakout postseason last year, averaging 26 points, 6 assists, and 5 rebounds in 19 playoff games. The Arizona Cardinals added much-needed depth in the backfield on Tuesday when they agreed to terms on a 1-year contract with former Steelers running back James Conner. Conner, 25 years old, will be paired with Chase Edmonds to form the Cardinals' 1-2 2021 backfield punch. It's expected they'll share reps and responsibilities, making it a nightmare for fantasy football owners. The WNBA released its 2021 schedule Tuesday as the league gets set to celebrate its 25th season starting May 14th. Nobody gives a damn, so we'll move on. James Paxton, his first season back with the Seattle Mariners, has come to an end already as a left-hander who's been injured much his career will undergo season-ending surgery, manager Scott Servais said on Tuesday. Servais said Paxton will have surgery on his left elbow but did not say if it was Tommy John. The United States' second chance at qualifying for the Olympic baseball tournament has been moved to the spring training home of the Houston Astros and Washington Nationals in the exhibition ballpark of the New York Mets. The games will be played at West Palm Beach and Port St. Lucie May 31st to June 5th. Former LA Angels manager Mike Scioscia will be the manager. The U.S. plays the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, and Nicaragua in Group A. The top 2 teams advance to the Super Round, along with 2 teams from Group B, which include Canada, Colombia, Cuba, and Venezuela. We've got a full day of Major League Baseball today, starting at 1:07 p.m. Eastern. First pitch, Corey Kluber versus Ross Stripling. It's the Yankees at the Blue Jays. At 1:15, the Nationals are at the Cardinals. Joe Ross versus Adam Wainwright. And 1:40, Cubs and Brewers. Arrieta versus Corbin Burns. At 2:10, you get the beginning of a doubleheader. Nathan Eovaldi versus Kenta Maeda, followed by Eduardo Rodriguez versus Jose Barrios. Marlins are at the Braves. Nick Neidert going up against Charlie Morton. And Joe Musgrove returns home to Pittsburgh, his first start since throwing a no-hitter last Friday night. Phillies and Mets, Indians, White Sox are also in action. And that's your Armchair Quarterback Sports Flash. Stay tuned for more of the Armchair Quarterbacks radio show and YouTube Live. Please like, subscribe, and share our show today. The Armchair Quarterbacks, your first choice for sports talk live from the First Coast.
We live in a world now that welcomes and nurtures the screwball in all of us. Hey, it's a new decade, people. Time to get a little nutty. Treat yourself to Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey, a smooth flavor that combines two of America's favorites, peanut butter and American whiskey. So no more social awkwardness. Time to embrace who you truly are. Get out there and make friends. And be sure it starts with Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey. It's available nearly everywhere. Learn more at screwballwhiskey.com. Infinium Spirits. Please enjoy responsibly.
It's important to remember the value of taking time for ourselves, to do the things that help us grow and explore, like learning something new. And now with the Great Courses Plus, it's never been easier to experience the joys of learning. The Great Courses Plus offers thousands of streaming videos that cover hundreds of fascinating topics, from World War II to choosing the perfect wine. You can even take a course on the U.S. government or dealing with stress and anxiety. And because the Great Courses Plus partners with world-class professors and experts, you're always receiving thoroughly vetted, high-quality content from every lecture. Plus, you can watch or listen anytime, anywhere with the Great Courses Plus app. So take a little time for you. Sign up for the Great Courses Plus today for a free month of unlimited access. Visit thegreatcoursesplus.com/radio to get started. That's thegreatcoursesplus.com/radio.
People might walk up to you occasionally and they might want to just take a picture with you and say, congratulations, great work. With me, they want to debate. My life is harder.
Well, Stephen, here's what I want you to realize. A, you're lying. Nobody comes up to you. Okay? Stephen A. Smith does not have one fan. Not one. There's never been a request for a picture. There's never been a request for a debate. You are you're snap finger famous. That's the guy, what's the guy that's on
All right, good morning. CBS Sports Radio, Armchair Quarterbacks, Mac McGee and Sean O'Toole, taking you down to the bottom of the hour, where we will hand it off to, I believe it's the DA show that follows us up. I know I should be better informed with that, but there are some shows I listen to on the CBS Sports Network. There are some shows that I do not. And some of it's just time constraints. So I'm not going to bash anybody. Now ESPN, that's a whole different that's a whole different thing.
Let's not do that.
ESPN's terrible. I can't believe that the experiment, I know it's only been going on since September, so they're probably going to give it a full year, but I can't believe that the experiment of their radio slots on ESPN have lasted as long as they've had, because I saw a thing. I used to bring this up more, but I saw a thing on there on ESPN's radio ratings recently. They are bottom of the barrel, god awful. And you'll notice that when you see certain things that have been switched around, they're subtle, but you'll notice how they've gotten rid of some of the, remember how they used to do a lot of these radio shows on ESPN News and whatnot throughout the day. You don't see it anymore.
Yeah.
It's because they can't get anyone to watch it. It's just they're absolutely. I don't know why they didn't just do the obvious and tell Golick and Greeny, bro, get over yourselves and do the damn show again. It's what everybody wants. That morning show that they have on ESPN is just awful. I try to listen to it every once in a while just because I like to watch as much sports talk and listen to as much sports talk as I can to get an idea of what other people are talking about. And also, there's some ones I enjoy, and then there's others I'm listening to because you want to learn what not to do. Oh man, that one in the morning on ESPN, Sean. I don't know if you've caught it or not, but it is not good.
The last ESPN radio product I listened to regularly was Russillo and Cannell, if that tells you how long it's been. I saw Golick's kid.
And that was good. They were so stupid.
They were funny. That's why I listened to them. They were funny.
You know what their problem was? They thought Russillo was a standalone star, and they thought they could just cut salary
Cannell.
and bring in and cut Cannell, and they were wrong about that. That's the one thing that I do miss about not having XM radio is not being able to listen to Cannell, and I forget the other gentleman's name that's on Mad Dog Radio with
Greg McElroy. Cannell has Greg McElroy with him sometimes. No,
it's a XM radio show that comes.
Okay,
he is sitting in Florida, but the guy that he's with is up in the Northeast. I think he's in Connecticut with
Gotcha.
Mad Dog. Cannell's on like 3 different shows every day. So Cannell bounces around. I think you're right. I think he's on with McElroy doing something, but this is the 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern. If you have XM, it's actually really good. They do tend to talk more football than anything else, but they do get into all sports, so it's actually not bad.
I got a free year of XM weekend before last. I bought my wife a new car, and it came with a year of XM. So I've been poking around. I haven't spent a lot of time with it yet. So
Mad Dog Radio, I want to say it's in the 80s. That's all I can remember.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it's good, and it falls into Russo, who comes on at 3 Eastern, which is I think he does a phenomenal job. That one at the bottom of the evening, ooh, Nick Wright, and not good. Anyways, let's go ahead and get back into the NFL mock draft. We are sitting now with the Chargers
47
at number 47, and it is your pick. Curious to see where you go with this one, because it will greatly affect where I go with my next one.
So during the break, I made I have some rankings based off of Ryan Wilson's projections on CBS Sports. And I was amazed at the number of best players available that are still available based on our mock drafts and the other members of the ACQB network. There's no way he makes it this far, but if he did, I checked twice, so feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't see that he's been taken. If Gregory Rousseau, the edge defensive lineman from Miami, sophomore, 6'7", 265, if he's still on the board this late, and there's no way he is, but in a hypothetical exercise, if he's there this late and you compare him with Joey Bosa, good night. Kiss Patrick Mahomes' legs goodbye for the next 10 years. Gregory Rousseau is a monster, sophomore, long, strong, converted wide receiver, opted out last year. So I think his name is maybe not as fresh in people's minds as it would be in maybe
we'll
also
last year. Remember something. Our drafts are extremely, I don't want to say that they are, well, I'll just put it this way. They're not as organized as a real draft would be, because I'm the only constant and everyone else is jumping in every day. And so they're doing these on the fly. I know I'm getting them the text message and just jotting. So I can see why someone like Russo would fall in our draft that wouldn't fall in a real draft possibly. So yeah, that's, I see this every year we do this. There'll be someone that'll fall into the second round. You're like, how in the hell is Zach Wilson still on the board? And you're like, what? I thought someone drafted him. Sorry, I wasn't here Monday. What happened? Like the Jaguars are going to draft their backup quarterback for Zach Wilson. All right, well now we got it going. If that is the case, I am going to go to. So I've got the Raiders at this point, and I don't see him. Carlos Basham, edge rusher out of Wake Forest.
Yep.
I don't believe he has been taken. And
he is not.
Considering how difficult it is to find an edge rusher, someone who can put pressure on the quarterback, and kind of like what you're talking about with having to deal with Patrick Mahomes. Well, the Raiders are also having to deal with Justin Herbert. And I think that they're going to try to focus on trying to get them off the field. It would be interesting to see if the Raiders take a quarterback in this draft to try to develop them. But it seems like for all intents and purposes, Derek Carr is their guy going forward. A lot of people don't like Derek Carr. I think he's a serviceable quarterback. He's decent. He's good. I'd say he's in the top 20, if not top 15 quarterbacks in the league. But I wouldn't go crazy and say that he's ever going to be like an MVP candidate. So they might be content to be where they are and kind of build their team, because the Raiders weren't far off a couple of years ago. And so I kind of throw 2020 out of the water, because
they were in the driver's seat for a playoff spot with 4 weeks to go, if my memory serves, and they
were
finished 1-3.
They had a couple of games down the stretch that they blew that really hurt their chances. What was the deal with the Dolphins Raiders game? I know it was dramatic down the stretch. I just can't remember who won the damn thing.
Dolphins did. That was the face mask on Fitzpatrick.
That's right. Okay,
ball up in the air.
So that was either 2 or 3 weeks to go in the season, and I think that had a lot to do with why they didn't get a wild card.
Yeah, they botched that game. They had that game won.
So they've got talent on offense. I think they're going to try to build their defense going forward. So then that takes us to, believe we're ending it with you with the 49th pick in the Arizona Cardinals. And so where are you going with this?
Okay. So Arizona Cardinals obviously have a quarterback. So, they have some skill position players. I think they're going to look to fortify their defense. Their defense was not very good last year. You look at their offseason moves, signing JJ Watt and bringing in some veterans on that side of the ball. They're clearly going to try to be more competitive through the defensive lines and through the secondary. They let Patrick Peterson go, longtime defensive back. I think they're going to look for a plug and play defensive back here. And the best player left on the board per our projections is Greg Newsome II, junior out of Northwestern, 6'1", 190 pounds, had a real standout season last year in the Big Ten, guarding some really good receivers, especially at Ohio State and Michigan, and even, at Purdue and Minnesota with Rashad Bateman and Rondale Moore. So Greg Newsome II, a plug and play defensive back. You can drop him into an outside position, drop him into the slot. He's going to play day one for you.
Okay. And that'll pretty much do it for us today here. Tomorrow we will get into the Titans pick, number 53, and Joey is here with us. So we will definitely get into the Colts pick at number 54. So I want to save that for him tomorrow. And we'll go ahead and put the mock draft up for the day. So we've gone through 49 picks. Now we've got the draft is essentially 2 weeks from Thursday.
So close.
So I definitely want to be through the third round by then. We might, if I don't slow our roll, end up in the I don't want to get into the sixth round. I'll tell you that. Fourth is as far as I want to go if we go that far. So I gotta start doing the math and start counting it out so that we don't go too fast. Because I don't want to go a deep dive long snapper, going to I'm gonna take a long snapper for the Minnesota Vikings here with the 272 pick. What do they call the last dude picked in the draft? The
Mr. Irrelevant. Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah. I wonder if Mr. Irrelevant's ever been worth a damn. I don't believe.
I feel like there's a guy who's had a moment or two.
Was it
I can't remember
Julian
who it is. No, it wasn't Julian Edelman. He was a 7th round pick though. Trying to think of the current Mr. Irrelevant is Tay Crowder of the Georgia Bulldogs, who was picked by the Giants last year. Oh, Ryan Suckup. Ryan Suckup was a Mr. Irrelevant. That was the one I was thinking of. Who's had, he's had some moments in the National Football Leagues, made some big kicks.
I mean,
been on a few teams.
A kicker, I get it, but I was wondering if there's ever been a Mr. Irrelevant that's ever made a contribution in real football, like a lineman or anything like that. You got to figure someone's done something at least okay-ish.
Yeah, I'm going through the whole list on Wiki just to see if there's anybody that rattles anything for me. No. I'm up to. Well,
I don't want to get sued for putting people to sleep as they're driving to work, so we'll go and Joe West might be listening. He might throw
Joe West might be listening.
He might be throwing the camera down on me later.
Yeah, Suckup's the only good one. I mean, if you're talking about Google News traffic, unfortunately, Chad Kelly was Mr. Irrelevant, but it's, if you Google Chad Kelly, you're going to get stuff that has nothing to do with football, unfortunately. So, yeah, that's it. Suckup's really the only one going all the way back to 1976 when the draft was expanded. There's really nobody that's amounted to a whole lot, unfortunately.
By the way, I forgot to get the pick from Justin before he stepped off, but if you want to join in on this today, pull up your betting app, Sean, or betting website. And we haven't been doing this a whole lot this year. We just brought it back a couple of days ago, essentially. So let's go ahead and get into some skin in the game.
Every man should have skin in the game. His rep, his honor, fully on the line because it means all.
You got to know when to hold them.
All right, let's go ahead and turn that down. They'll be flagging us. I forgot that stupid song's in there. They'll be like, "Oh, you're on YouTube. You can't listen to music." This is like the modern MTV. You can't be listening to music. MTV's turning 40 this year.
That would, if I didn't have a 14-year-old son, that would make me feel old. But unfortunately, I do have a 14-year-old son. So.
It's turning 40. So they have brought at least 7 or 8 years of good music to us. I mean, that's MTV no longer plays music, and I do notice that I think I get it. I think I still get it. I haven't seen it in a minute on the YouTube app.
Mm-hmm.
YouTube TV app, excuse me. They have, I forget what they call it, but basically it's like MTV Classic, right? And it's actual music videos. And they play, I think they do them in blocks where like there's a block of 80s rock, there's a block of, if you're into the 90s music, or maybe I would assume
rock. Yeah, all that
I would
stuff.
assume they even have like, there's an R&B set, although we all know that back in the day, if you wanted to listen to R&B, you didn't watch MTV, you watched either BET or you flipped over to VH1. Because BET normally played like the R&B, MTV was playing the rock and roll, and then VH1 became we're going to play a little bit in the middle, right? This is where you might find Diana Summers or Whitney Houston, but you also might find Phil Collins.
Right.
But when I think of MTV, outside of the hair bands, I think of Michael Jackson.
I think of Nirvana before I think of anything else, because that was my freshman year of high school, and I didn't really know who they were until they showed up and just started wrecking the set. I was like, oh, and they built, a real following off of a few appearances on MTV and releasing that, Smells Like Teen Spirit video for everybody to watch.
I'm glad
that's the first thing I think of.
Glad you brought that up. I'm going to see if I can pull it up, but bear with me because I'm trying to basically chew gum and walk at the same time here. I've got the wrong keyboard. So yeah, already I can't chew gum and walk at the same time. Let's see if I can pull up. I saw this video the other day, and this was incredible. Was it last night? Was it that recent? Yeah, here we go. So I'm gonna see if
I'm Charles Barkley, host of.
Stop it. All right. I don't know if you did you hear that when he said that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I could hear it.
So see, I've always wondered if I wasn't sharing the screen, if you can hear. All right. So watch this. You want to talk about a surreal moment? This is in late 80s, early 90s. It's a promo that they were recording for Saturday Night Live coming up. You ready?
The season premiere of Saturday Night Live with Nirvana. Look, Mom, your favorite, Nirvana.
All right, let's do one more. You're a little rushed at the beginning. You got a little more time.
Anyways,
hi, I'm Charles Barkley, host of the season premiere of Saturday Night Live with
Nirvana. All right, Charles, quit taking over my show. But anyways, I saw that the other night and I was like, man, I need to tag that. I thought about doing it as an intro, but anyways, it was just so surreal to see Kurt Cobain sitting there next to a thin Charles Barkley. I was like, wow. Wow.
That'll make you feel old.
I bet they partied that night. Charles Barkley and Nirvana.
You think?
Oh, in the early 90s, New York City.
Oh, although I think Charles is more of a nightclub cocktails kind of guy. I think Nirvana was into something a little different, shall we say. So you're probably not wrong, but I don't know that.
I bet you there was a party. I'm trying to think of who would have been, the hosts back then, but wow. There was some throwing down. I mean, was Chris Farley still on there? If you get Chris Farley, Charles Barkley, and Nirvana, I'm never leaving that party.
That's a shindig.
So skin in the game today, I'm going to take the St. Louis Cardinals -128. They're at home, and Wainwright's on the mound versus Joe Ross and the Nationals, 115.
It's a good one.
Do you have one in mind?
I most certainly do. The very first thing that popped up is I wanted to go look at a few things today. I like runs totals when it comes to baseball. I'm not as big a fan of betting winners and losers because you can get hosed. I mean, you can get hosed in any form of gambling, but the Angels and Royals played today at 110. Hot Kansas City sun in the middle of the day in that ballpark. Currently, the over-under is 8.5 runs. I would like to mention quickly that the starters in this game are Griffin Canning, who is sporting a 6 3/4 ERA, and Brad Keller, who's currently sporting a 19.29 ERA and has only struck out 3 batters, and his first 2 starts have both been less than 3 innings. I don't think there's any chance this game stays under 8.5 runs. The only person that's missing from this equation really is Anthony Rendon, who's on the injured list for the Angels. But Ohtani's going to be in the lineup. Trout's going to be in the lineup. Kansas City's boppers are going to be in the lineup. If this finishes under 8.5 runs, I'm going to be very surprised.
Yeah. They haven't released the actual lineups yet, but I would think that Trout will be in the lineup. He's not dealing with an injury. We'll put it that way.
Yeah. He doesn't like to take days off either. He really doesn't. He likes to play. So,
real quick before we have to jam out of here, the AL Central right now. What's your? I wanted to get more into this, but we'll do it next week. The AL Central right now, your Tigers aren't looking so good, but the rest of the division. What's your initial take on the first 2.5 weeks of the season?
Yeah, so just to get over it really quick, I mean, I think we were right in our projection that the Tigers would not be a doormat, but would still finish 4th or 5th, right? They've been competitive. They haven't gotten bowled over. Casey Mize looked great against Houston the other night. Matt Boyd picks up a win last night. like I mentioned at the top in my leadoff, you know, if you had Wilson Ramos, or I may have said this to my son before I got on the show, if you had Wilson Ramos as the MLB home runs leader at any point in the season, cash in that ticket because he's got 6. And I don't think that's likely to continue. But, you know, your prediction about Kansas City being better than expected looks accurate so far. Cleveland has gotten a little high on the hog, you know, beating up on Detroit. I'm a little concerned about the White Sox. I think they were a lot of people's picks to win this division, mine included, and I'm not seeing it yet. I'm wondering, you know, how much time it's going to take for La Russa to adapt to the modern game and push the right buttons. You know, losing Jimenez was tough for them, but that hasn't really been their problem. Their problem has been they've just allowed too many runs. It's going to be an interesting division. I think even though it's not going to produce anyone who can win the World Series, or very unlikely to do so, it could be the most competitive division all year, because you could talk me into a lot of different scenarios where Cleveland's there at the All-Star break, so's Kansas City, so's Minnesota, so's Chicago.
That Bieber-Giolito duel was phenomenal last night, by the way.
Yep, sure was.
And
if Minnesota's going to get 7.5 WAR out of Byron Buxton, and he's going to start hitting home runs all of a sudden after 5 years of being the most disappointing, you know, number 1 overall prospect, you know, since Jurickson Profar, Minnesota's got something, you know, maybe. So I don't know. It's a very interesting division. I'm at least optimistic about the Tigers' future. You know, this kid Badu has really been something for them, and getting him in the Rule 5 draft where almost nobody turns into anything out of that draft has been really something for that team. So it's going to be an interesting division. I think it's going to last the whole year. I don't see anybody running away with it, no matter who your preseason pick was.
My walk-off before we get – well, I'm sorry. I'll do my walk-off here in a second. I got sidetracked. I was looking at something. I didn't want to forget to bring it up. Let's do turnback times, and then we'll do walk-offs. How about we do it the right way for once, McGee? Okay, here we go. Sorry. I've become fascinated with the AL Central race this year, and so I'm definitely going to try to watch that the Blue Jays Angels game today. Okay, here we go. Turnback time and walk-offs. On this date in 2002, so almost 20 years ago today, Tiger Woods becomes the 3rd player to claim back-to-back Masters champion, 3 strokes ahead of Retief Goosen. Gotta remember him. It's been a while. I mean, seriously. Also on this date in 1976, on the north side of Chicago, Dave Kingman launches a home run down the left field line that was measured at 530 feet from home plate. Woo. The Cubs end up surviving that game. They win 6-5. But for people who don't know Dave Kingman, he would have been a multi-millionaire in today's game because he swung for the fences, hit mammoth home runs, and had a terrible batting average. Everything everyone told you not to do in the 70s and everything that everyone's telling you to do here in the 2020s, Kingman was about. I think I think it's gonna come full circle, and you're gonna see these analytic dorks finally realize you need a little bit of both. You need bases, guys on base, because a 1-run shot isn't nearly as lethal as a 3-run bomb or a 2-run double.
Kingman was one of the forerunners of one of my favorite Tigers during the down years, Mr. Rob Deere, who was also a progenitor of the 3 true outcomes. It was going yard, or he was striking out, or you were going to hit him in the back. Those were the only things.
Yeah, every time I think of Kingman, Deere comes to my mind. Like he was right in that same ilk. Cecil
hit
Field
44 home runs. Hit 44 home runs one year for the Tigers. To nobody. That was one of the final years of Tiger Stadium. And I mean, there were maybe 500 people in the stands because they were bad. I mean, really bad.
The more things change,
the more they stay the same. That's right. Nashville native Bill Gullickson was the last 20-game winner for the Tigers. That's another thing that's in my brain. So there you go.
On this date in any year, the Tigers were in last place in the AL Central.
Stop it. That's just mean. Knock it off.
Birthdays. These sometimes I get duds for birthdays. Then I get ones where I can't squeeze them all in, but we're going to try to do a few of them. It's your birthday today. How about happy 80th birthday, 80, Mr. Pete Rose. Why the hell he's not in the Hall of Fame by now? I mean, the dude has paid his price, man. Come on. You get less from murder.
Make sure you put Joe West in there before you put him in.
Exactly. Happy 55th birthdays, plural, to Mr. David Justice of the Atlanta Braves, born in Cincinnati, Ohio, and Mr. Greg Maddux were both birthday boys on the same day, same year. 4-time Cy Young winner. Of course, he was he was a Cub. He was a Brave. All of those birthdays today. There were some others, but I don't have enough time. Sean, what is your walk-off for the day, sir?
My walk-off is congratulations to Tennessee State University. You have ridden Deion Sanders' coattails by hiring a former NFL player with no head coaching experience, and he immediately hires Jeff Fisher and Hugh Jackson. Very excited to see how this turns out.
I am interested to see. I mean, Jeff Fisher, they should at least have a solid defense.
I guess we'll see.
I mean, we'll
see if this is a new wave. We're seeing a big run of this now of ex-players without any really coaching history. I mean, it's worked out great at Michigan in the men's basketball program, which won. The jury's still out on Deion. He's so new. I wonder if this is something we're going to start seeing where.
Well, I think in these HBC colleges, what they're doing is, which I don't think is a bad thing at all. They are hiring guys with very little experience. But
and a lot of name recognition.
Draw, man. They're a ticket draw. Like you'll go to a Jackson State game now to watch Deion Sanders. You'll go to a TSU game to watch Eddie George. It's hard to build any kind of excitement on these smaller schools because we've all become prey to, if you're not winning the national title, your college football doesn't matter.
Yep.
You know, so it's my walk off
tactic.
Yeah, exactly. My walk off for the day is, if you're looking for some good baseball to dive into, there is a doubleheader starting at 2:10 Eastern of the Red Sox and Twins. And I think it'd be very, very interesting. I like the 7-inning doubleheader. And I know I'm in the minority because I see so many people bitch and moan about it on social media, and they have to have their hot takes and everything like that. And they don't like the extra inning rule.
Keep the 7-inning doubleheader. Get rid of the extra inning rule.
I like
the
extra
7-inning doubleheader.
I like the extra inning.
Do you really?
Only for regular season, because we don't need to see a 17-inning marathon for one game when you play 162. Is my point. And it wrecks a bullpen. I'll tell you one thing I don't like about it though, because I was victim of it yesterday. I don't like the fact that my closer came in with a chance for a save, but the dude's automatically put on second.
Yeah,
that shouldn't be a blown save. I'm sorry. There ought to be a way for fantasy sports to figure that part out. Because as soon as he came in, I was like, all right, I can get a save and go, wait a minute. I can also get a I can also get a blown. I also get a blown save if he just does what he should do, which is move the runner over and then get him home on a fly ball. I could get a blown save with no base hits allowed. I don't like.
There's got to be a way to figure that out.
There's got to be, and I think I need to next year. I didn't even think of it as that being a rule. When I think next year I need to take blown saves out of the mix. I didn't.
I agree.
Just didn't think about it. And they won't let me do it. All right, we've got to run. Sean, you have a great rest of your day. Great job, and we will see you next Wednesday, 1 week closer to the draft. So by then, we will be in the 19th round, and I will see you tomorrow. We got Joey on the way. We've got Justin tomorrow, and we will do Titans. We will do Colts, and a whole hell of a lot more, as we are rolling here in the spring, getting closer to the NBA and NHL playoffs. See ya.
Goodbye, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. We're back tomorrow with another
show. Well, unless we're fired, we'll talk to you then. Goodbye, sweetheart. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Guys and gals, it's time to go. We'll see you on the next show.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Thanks for listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on these CBS Sports affiliates and catching the show on YouTube Live. We're here weekdays, 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 Central, 5 Pacific. Find Armchair Quarterbacks on YouTube Live today. Please subscribe and share and take us everywhere you go. The Armchair Quarterbacks, your first choice for Southern sports talk, live from the First Coast.
Gonna get another cigarette.